Results shares the herbs, the protocols, and the lifestyle changes that have helped his clients down as causes and natural solutions. Peace and blessings. Welcome to Herbal Results with Brother Heru. This is a monthly live series dedicated to real, natural healing. Brother Heru, a master herbalist and founder of Herbal Results, shares the herbs, the protocols, and the lifestyle changes that have helped his clients reverse their cancer, diabetes, high blood pressure, kidney issues, and much more. Each month we'll focus on a different ailment, breaking down its causes and natural solutions. So please join us for an hour of powerful, results-driven wellness guidance to reclaim your health the natural way. Peace and blessings to the family, Wukusu. A few technical glitches, family. You know what's funny about this is that we have to have the ability to be light when we mess up. I've been doing this for a few years now, and sometimes I still forget to unmute the mic. In any event, I want to welcome you all to our first actual episode of Herbal Results with Brother Heru. Now, Brother Heru should be on. He's not in the studio as of yet, but he should be on soon. So what I'm going to do is put a few things up. I want to do a little bit of housekeeping. First of all, if you see the ticker scrolling across the bottom of the screen, it is reminding you that Brother Baba Afam out of Brooklyn, he's the founder of the Strategic Black Empowerment Training Organization, and they spread the teachings of our beloved Baba, who is deceased, Dr. Amos Wilson. He also teaches Qigong to the community for free. He's doing some wonderful things in the community. And he sponsored this particular broadcast tonight. He is trying to raise money to go to Sierra Leone. He did his DNA testing, family, through AfricanAncestry.com. And Sierra Leone, which is a West African country, has an agreement that if those of us who are, new Africans, those of us in the diaspora, if we do our DNA testing through AfricanAncestry.com, and it says that we have history or lineage that goes back to Sierra Leone, that we can go there and they will grant us dual citizenship, right? Okay, now, to go there, you have to go through a process, right? You have to go through a process to get this. So Baba Fam is raising money so he can get to Sierra Leone, pay for his transportation. He can go through the process, pay for the fee, get his dual citizenship in Sierra Leone, and in doing that, he'll get an ECOWAS passport, which means he'll have a passport for entry into 15 other African nations so he can spread the work of Dr. Amos Wilson. I have his information scrolling on the bottom. The information is in the description section of this video. Family, please support our brother. We got to move past the spirit, the symbolic stuff, and get to the real tangible things. Fund our programs. Share people's digital work, right? Buy people's books. Hello. buy people's products, take their classes if they're coaching. We got to get to that level of this struggle at this point. With that said, I see we have our good brother is in the studio. I'm going to bring him in. And I want to say this before I bring him in. This brother Heru strikes me as a brother that's modest, and that's a good thing. However, sometimes we got to let people know who we be, who they're looking at, not to confuse them with people who are not serious. This is a brother who's dedicated years to this. And he is, in some respects, at least in my humble opinion, I remember being a young college student in 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, and I'm looking at Dr. Sebi, and I'm reading Lila Africa, Holistic African Health. I'm reading Queen Afua, Heal Thyself. I'm reading How to Eat to Live by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Was really on the health. Though many of those people are gone, we have people who are continuing the legacy. And I believe that Baba Heru is one of them. And I think he deserves and has earned our maximum respect. I really do, through the work he's done. If you know what I know, and I don't even know it all, I don't know his whole story, but from the little bit I know, family, I'm paying attention to this brother. I'm paying attention to him because he has done the work. He has studied. He knows what he's talking about, and he has the proof, if you will, the evidence through testimonies of several new African people who are bearing witness that, hey, I had this ailment, this disease, and I took his products, I followed his protocol, maybe some dietary lifestyle changes, and reversed these things. And I'm assuming by reverse, we mean that when they went back to the doctor, there was no sign that they even had this. This thing was gone. And the Western doctors, you know the white man family, the Western doctors were baffled. How could this be? Trying to talk them out of following what Brother Heru was telling them. So he deserves our respect and attention. And I want to bring our brother on. We're going to be doing this once a month, family. Last Tuesday of every month, 7 p.m. Eastern. Let me bring our brother on and give him the greetings. Hold on one second. Let me get us in the right format here. All right. Brother Heru, how you doing, man?
I'm on top of the world. How are you?
Hey, brother, man, I am feeling blessed. I'm glad you can make it. Glad that we could spend some time with you. You heard me give my abbreviated introduction about you, my brother. I think that it's time that we give our attention to some people who don't deserve it so much. And I think it's very important for Africans and new Africans as we move in a climate that's very repressive, that we really hunker down and we do the things we need to do and listen to the people and that are our thought leaders, our experts, our activists, whoever, and really get with the program. My brother, we know that we're going to be meeting monthly for about an hour or so. Tonight is more of an introductory piece for those who don't know who you be, to let them know some of your background, how you got into this, why this is such a passionate thing for you, what you offer. We want to talk about your website and your products and things like that. Can we start with, for those who don't know you, you on the elevator, you giving your pitch, they're introducing themselves. What do you say to this person? Hey, I'm Brother Heru, and this is what I do. What would you say?
I would probably, because I'm involved in more things than just health, but I would say that I'm a very curious person that is interested in results and solving problems, right? So I think that's what I would really say, that is what motivates me, and that's why I do what I do. And I use an approach called first principles thinking towards problem solving, and it enables me and anyone else who uses that form of thinking and problem solving to really cut to the chase and get to the brass tacks, which is a solution that works for great numbers of people within a population. So when it comes to health, you start looking at, what are the main killers of people? according to, the Center for Disease Control and the World Health Organization. And they say the number one killer is heart disease. So it seemed to me that if that kills the most people, there should be an approach that solves that problem as soon as possible. After that, you have cancer, right? And then you'll have, diabetes, autoimmune illnesses, and all these other things. But what we've noticed is that over the years, the problems have gotten worse. And the medical institutions have gotten richer, right? So how is it that you're charged to solve a problem, but the problem's getting worse, but you're making more money? That doesn't really make any sense. And so that means that the people who are making the money off of the healthcare industry or the sick care industry are not incentivized to actually solve the problem. If their income rises every year from them not solving the problem, how would they ever be motivated to solve the problem? So therefore, when you start looking at sicknesses through a first principles approach, you start understanding the history of sicknesses, the eradication of sicknesses, and what the numbers should look like over a period of time if you're being successful. And if the numbers are increasing over a period of time, then you would mathematically be able to say that the approach is not working and you're actually not solving that problem, right? And the reason why you're not solving that problem, just using the law of parsimony, would be that you have the wrong thesis, right? So if you can't solve the problem of gravity, then you've got the wrong mathematical equations for gravity, right? So if heart disease is getting worse and worse, then you have the wrong theory about what causes heart disease, right? They'll tell you it's cholesterol, high cholesterol, but they have medications for high cholesterol, and they've had them for 40 years called statin drugs, and they're prescribed quite widely, but heart disease keeps going up. So either the statins don't work or cholesterol is not the problem, right?
Yes,
So, I
sir.
mean, this is just a first principles approach. And so what I'm saying is that when it comes to health, it's not that I would even call myself a health expert. I'm just somebody who has looked at the prevailing orthodoxy and seen that the prevailing orthodoxy isn't a dead end. And so then the question now becomes, well, if they have the wrong thesis, then what is the correct thesis? And this should be the matter of inquiry of all people who are interested in health. And everyone should be interested in health because everyone has their body. Your body has to have health, and that's the most important thing. And so when you start ruminating around these things, you get a great ability to solve these problems much quicker than those people who are actually identified as the problem solvers, i.e. doctors. The ones who get paid and are supposed to be thinking about this stuff 24/7, well, you'll never get a solution because they're working with the wrong thesis. It'll be 1,000 years and the problem still hasn't been solved because you've got the wrong equation. You've got the wrong set of assumptions. And so noticing that, I'm able to now pursue different paths and not waste my time with the wrong theory. And because I've been able to pursue different paths and try different things, I've been able to collect evidence over the years as to what has worked for the great majority of the people who are my customers around cancer, heart disease, diabetes, autoimmune illnesses. So, you would go to the website herbalresults.net and you will see evidence. You won't see me giving lectures and me talking slick and using big words and all that. You'll see people who once had cancer, brain cancer, lung cancer, breast cancer, liver cancer, esophageal cancer, prostate cancer, endometrial, cervical cancer, uterine cancer. Doesn't matter what part of the body the cancer is in, we've gotten reversals for all of that in a non-toxic way. And we have the evidence, and it's not written evidence where you can't identify the person. It's real video, like how I'm talking to you right now. And these people are telling their stories of how they were condemned to die and nothing was working for them around chemotherapy and radiation, and they had 90 days, 6 months to live, those types of things, and they're alive and well with no signs of cancer because we use a different approach, because we don't like the numbers we're seeing with cancer. And if the numbers were going in the direction it really needed to go around cancer, and then there's even controversy around how they record cancer deaths, right? So they could say, oh, the numbers for cancer aren't as high as it used to be. Then you start to find out that someone who died of pneumonia, who had cancer, is being charged with a pneumonia death and not a cancer death, when actually a lot of the pneumonia is coming from the ruined immune systems that comes from chemotherapy and radiation.
Brother Heru, I'm sorry to interrupt. Can we go back just a little bit? Because me personally, I always like to know, how do people get involved with, I might say, consciousness raising? How did they first become politically conscious? How did they get involved in this career? Was there anything that you went through personally? Like, what got Brother Heru onto this track of health and healing?
Okay, so some people would say it's epigenetic, in the sense that, my grandfather was a pharmacist in Ghana, right? And my father, his dream was to become a doctor. So he became a surgeon, and he learned to do surgery on infants. So he was a pediatric surgeon who then later became a trauma general surgeon. So he would be able to do surgery on any part of the body. And he was an emergency room surgeon. Wow. So he saw people in the worst conditions, people who, car wrecks. I remember one time he had to leave home because he was operating on someone who just got hit by a train. You know what I mean? Like, I remember one time we were sitting down watching the Chicago Bulls play, because I grew up in Chicago. And he got a call in the middle of the game, and he had to leave because somebody's lip got bitten off by a horse. You know what I mean? Like, I would hear these types of things. Like, he'd have to put mangled pieces of people's bodies together. And, so I grew up in a household with a doctor, and I saw his mastery of the field that he was in, because he would be asleep and they would call him, and he'd be in the middle of his sleep and still reciting to the nurses what to do. 20 cc's of this, 200 cc's of this, like rattling it off and going right back to sleep. Wow. And so that always impressed me. The other thing too is that because my father was a doctor, he was a surgeon, all the doctors that I met were Black doctors. They were his friends. They were his peers. So the first brain surgeon I met was a Black man.
Powerful.
Right? The first brain surgeon I met, he was a brother from South Africa, a Black man from South Africa with an incredible story. He, came out of South Africa, apartheid South Africa, and became a brain surgeon in America. And his name was Dr. Tapeti. That was my father's friends, you know what I mean? His other friend was, heart surgeon, a well-known heart surgeon from Nigeria. And then, so the Black men that I was around were surgeons. Those were my father's peers. So for me, it was not a long leap to say I would go to medical school, because I actually wanted to go to medical school to become a surgeon too, a brain surgeon. But really keep in mind, a lot of people might sound like, wow, that's incredible. Just understand, that's the environment that I was raised in.
Right. It was normalized.
It was normalized. And this is why it's important. It's important because if your young people are around, young people are always looking for heroes. And so if the people that they're around are made heroic, but they're actually negative people to the social fabric of your community, then what you do is you get a recycling of negativity. And you also get people distracted from who they could really be. Right? So for me, just like Bronny James, if he was adopted from birth, he most likely would not be a basketball player in the NBA. You understand? But it was because he grew up in a household with LeBron James. For him, becoming an NBA player was not that crazy of a thought.
Right.
Because that's who he's been around. him, his father's friends doing. He's been around his father's friends, and they're all NBA players. Mm-hmm. So he's growing up watching this, and so for him, like, of course I'll go to the NBA. You know what I mean? Like it's not like a crazy thing. It's not a, you know what I mean? So for me, it was like, yeah, of course I could become a doctor and go to medical school. So when I went to university, I was real good at math. So when I went to university, my major was in math. But then we started getting into, I think, Euclidean geometry and some other high-level math that really, I thought I was good in math, but I met people who were great in math. Yeah, you know, like you might be the fastest kid on your block,
right,
until you start to run state finals, right, or running the Olympics. Then you see what's what. So I got around people who were really, really good in math. And really, my problem was that the teachers who were teaching me, they didn't know how to teach word problems very well. So I didn't do well in physics because physics is basically math with word problems. So what's really funny is later on in life, maybe 10, 15 years ago, I decided to pick up my physics books again and teach myself physics because I wasn't satisfied with not knowing physics when I was in school, realizing that the people who were teaching me just didn't know how to teach well. Because I was able to now teach myself physics because, well, the problem was this, bro, is that when you do word problems, certain words are actually, certain words represent mathematical symbols in an equation. And once I was able to figure that out, then I could translate the words into mathematical equations. Because I was good with equations, but I couldn't translate the words or the scenario into a mathematical equation. And that was my problem with physics. But so what happened was that I was a science major. I was going to major in math and then go to medical school, right? Then I switched my major because math was too difficult to neuroscience, which was a double degree in biology and psychology.
Wait a minute, that was less difficult?
Yeah, because wow. I hit a roadblock with math.
I see.
When you get to higher level math, a lot of it is words actually instead of numbers. So it's the words that have to be translated to numbers and symbols that represent certain things. And if you're not taught correctly, you won't understand what's going on. And so I had a hard time transitioning from numbers to words and symbols. And so
as it got more abstract as you got higher in it.
Yeah, but there's a way to teach it where you'll know what the symbols really mean and what the words mean in relation to mathematical symbols and equations. There's a way to teach it, but I was never taught it. And I had to teach myself it later in life when I was like 30 years old. But anyway.
That shows a lot of initiative. That shows,
It's curiosity. It's curiosity. Yeah, it's curiosity. Yeah. I'm just a very curious person. I like to find things out for myself, right? So anyway, so when I'm pursuing a degree in neuroscience, because I said, okay, I'm going to be a doctor and I want to study the most powerful part of the human body, which is the brain, controls everything. Because remember, the first brain surgeon I met was a black man. So to me, it was nothing to become a brain surgeon. It was like, yeah, that's Dr. Tapetti's field. If I got questions, I can call him and ask him. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, that's what I was going to do. But on the parallel, I started getting involved in African history and African politics, Pan-Africanism. During college, you got a lot of time to do different things. So I was around a lot of characters who was really into like Black history. And so we would debate a lot, you know what I'm saying? So like, you'd have to get your chops together, when you were talking. So it was like, when I was 16, I read the autobiography of Malcolm X and it changed my life. And so I always had this interest, right? I had this interest as to who we were as a people, who we are and where we're going to go. And of course, that leads you to the rabbit hole of Marcus Garvey. You become a Garveyite, and then, you start reading more and, you get into the Cheikh Anta Diops and you get into the Chancellor Williams and you get into Anthony Browder's books and you get into, and then the John Henry Clark lectures and all of that. And so, I was deeply rooted into that. And so I became somewhat of a well-known activist at my university around Black issues. And so I would do a lot of public speaking, public debating. I'd be writing in the newspaper, opinion pieces, and all of that. And so a lot of the Black professors, and you don't know their struggle because you're just a student, but you don't understand that they're in a struggle with the rest of the faculty, particularly if you go to a predominantly white college. So the Black professors became somewhat of a fan of me because I was writing a lot of what they would love to say in the newspaper from a Black perspective because I didn't care.
Right.
I didn't have a salary. You know what I mean? I didn't really, I just didn't care. So I was basically doing my Steve Biko in college. You know, how he had an article in the newspaper every week called I Write What I Like. You know, so I was writing what I like. You know, I was just going off, right? This is strict Pan-Africanism, right? And so my professors, man, told me, look, we know that you want to go to medical school, but you really, you should go to law school. Because, yeah, they said you should go to law school because you could really be an advocate for our people as a civil rights attorney, you know, because you speak very well. You don't lose debates. You're great at giving speeches and all of that. Think that you'd be a great advocate. And so I listened to them and I graduated with a science degree, but I ended up going to law school instead of medical school. So I went to law school and always had my science background.
And this was to be a civil rights attorney, Brother
Yeah,
Heru?
so I ended up going to law school. I graduate law school, and then I passed the Florida bar, and I'm in Florida practicing law, but I'm doing all types of law. Because by the time I got out of law school, I realized that I didn't want to just do civil rights law. I wanted to really be flexible. So I did a little criminal law, but I really focused on international business law. So I did a lot of business with China. And I got to realize what China really was and how serious they were as a people.
Smart man.
Yeah.
You a smart young brother.
Yeah. I used to engage these companies in China that made heavy equipment like forklifts, and just dealing with them, negotiating with them, and seeing how good they were at writing English. Like that's when I knew that America was lost to China, because the Chinese rank and file person who's engaged in business and sending emails writes English better than the average American. I'm talking about the structure of their sentences, the completeness of their thoughts, the lack of misspellings. Like it was amazing to see like some guy named Fan Dong Ming writing me better emails than, you know, Michael Smith from New York. So I saw that and I said, oh, the educational level is a little bit different. You know, when someone can speak your language and write it better than you, and you don't even understand or can speak anything they can say, you know how much of an advantage that person has over you. So I saw that early. So anyway, man, I practiced law for some time, and then I saw a documentary. I got involved in renewable energy too. So,
man, listen, brother, I'm gonna stop you real quick because for you, this is normal. Like, this is your story. It's no big deal. I'm Heru. I'm modest, but it really is amazing how you're able to get into these fields that are, I would say, lucrative, that are cutting edge, that are, you know, so you seem to have a keen ability to pick your spots. Would you agree with that?
I don't know if it's a keen ability to pick my spots. I think what it is that I'm really driven by what is needed. Right? So the reason why I got into renewable energy is because I was living in Jamaica and I was living in Nigeria. I was going back and forth. And both countries had the same problem with electricity.
I see.
And each country is a tropical country with a lot of sunlight. I said, man, this problem could be solved if all the houses had solar panels. Who's going to do it? And I'd gotten to a point, and I'm sure you've gotten to a point because I heard you say we need to, you know, be about it and stop being about symbolism. I heard you say that before I came on. So inevitably, once we first get into this consciousness thing, you get very angry of what happened to our people.
Yes, sir.
Then you get very angry to the state of our people, and our people almost seeming like they're not interested in getting out of this state because they don't even realize they're in a state. Right? It's like you got to convince people that things are bad for them and why they're bad. And it can be very frustrating. And you find yourself getting involved in a lot of empty rhetoric because you're very emotional. You become very emotional at the state of our people, and you want progress as soon as possible. And you're figuring out that we're lacking a lot of things, and we're trying to figure out why we don't have our own schools, why we don't have our own banks, why we don't have our this, why is this not right? Why don't we have good electricity in Black countries? Why don't we? And then what I realized is that because I am a Black person and I'm part of the Black population of the earth, when I say we need this, I have to take responsibility and say that I'm going to do it.
Yes, sir.
Instead of waiting for others to do it. So if I realize that, hey, we need our own hospitals, I have to take it upon myself to work on building our own hospitals. You get what I'm saying?
I sure do.
We need our own medical care system. I have to take it on myself to, deal with that. And so when I realized that we needed more of us involved in solar electricity, I signed up for the U.S. Solar Institute to get certified in solar engineering and design and installation. And so I did that. And that led me to the Virgin Islands where I worked. And the reason why I'm telling the story is it all culminates into the health thing.
Yeah.
So I worked at the University of Virgin Islands in their Caribbean Green Technology Center, dealing with utility scale and residential law policy around renewable energy, and also negotiations of power purchase agreements and big utility contracts around big solar energy projects. And so while I was in the Virgin Islands, man, I'm sitting on my porch. I'll never forget, it was a beautiful day. My porch faced the Atlantic Ocean, where the Caribbean Sea and Atlantic Ocean meet. So this is beautiful. I'm sitting there on my balcony of my house, and I'm watching the ocean and listening to the ocean and feeling good. And I have my laptop there, and I saw a documentary called "Run from the Cure."
Say it again.
A documentary called "Run from the Cure." It is on YouTube. And "Run from the Cure" is a documentary about a man called Rick Simpson out of Canada, and he was reversing people's cancer with cannabis oil. This was 2011. I saw the documentary and I dropped everything and I said, why isn't this the most like important documentary in the world right now? Why is it not in the news? Why don't people not know about this? Why do I have to stumble on it? And what he did in the video was he showed you people, like real people with stage 4 cancer, who had stage 4, who were dying, sent home to die. And he would give them the oil and they would recover and the cancer would go away. And they would tell their stories. That's where I got the motivation and the idea that I need to do the same thing. If I, once I started getting reversals, I didn't use cannabis oil. I started with cannabis oil, but cannabis oil has a few problems. One, there's the legal issue of it still being a Schedule 1 drug. 2, a lot of people can't take the psychoactive high that comes from THC. And number 3, it can tend to be expensive because of all the rules and regulations around it. There's a lot of legal compliance fees that the growers have to absorb. So then the customers have to end up paying for it. So it can become very expensive, man. And also when I would give the lectures about it, people would ask me for the oil and I wouldn't be able to ship it to them. Right. I wouldn't be able to give it to them or sell it to them or give it to them anyway because it's federally illegal. I didn't feel like being in these people's court system.
I know that's right. Yeah.
But anyway, so I looked for another plant that could do the same things around cancer, and I found studies on the leaves of the olive tree. See, so by this time, I learned how to extract the medicine from cannabis plants very well. I taught myself there's some certain laws of solubility that's missing from a lot of people's herbal analysis. See, so not all plants are soluble in water. About half of them are soluble in oil.
When
They're
you say
called,
soluble, for those who don't know what that means, could you
yeah.
explain?
Well, solubility is the ability of the medicine from a plant to traverse into a liquid substrate medium, usually water, or you could have oil or milk or alcohol. But what happens is most people, when they make tea, they boil it with water. And they're not getting the health benefit because many of the plants that they are boiling are actually not water soluble. They are water insoluble. So, like oregano, the active ingredients is carvacrol. Carvacrol will not go into water. So when you
So you're
boil it
just
as a
getting a
tea,
flavor, but you're not
yeah,
getting the
you're not to
medicinal.
get into medicine now.
Wow.
So a lot of people don't know these things. So they're not getting the health benefit because they're just boiling it in water. And there's a lot of plants like I'll give you the people who make curcumin, turmeric tea, right? The active medicinal ingredient is curcumin. Curcumin will not traverse into water. It is hydrophobic.
Mm.
It is lipophilic, which means that it loves fat. So you'd have to use coconut oil or coconut milk. And just knowing these things makes a huge difference in human health. So I had learned this with cannabis. Cannabis is fat soluble. It's lipophilic. So if you boil it in water, you're not getting any medicinal benefit. You have to boil it in milk or use oil.
That's
So
interesting. Uh-huh.
so I'd learned how to extract the medicine very well from plants because I understood the science of solubility. Now, when it got to olive leaf extract, I started looking at the research and I'm finding research that it reverses cancer tumors. And there's a mouse study that it reversed tumors in rodents between 9 and 12 days. So this is very
Mm.
promising. It's very promising. I saw more and more studies, and all these studies on the U.S. National Institute of Health website. So I also saw that not only is there studies about olive leaf extract reversing cancer, there are studies about olive leaf extract reversing high blood pressure. Then there are studies about olive leaf extract reversing diabetes. Then there's studies about olive leaf extract killing all pathogens like viruses and fungal infections and bacterial infections and parasitic infections. So,
Mm.
okay, so it kills parasites. And then it's probably the best anti-inflammatory herb there is. I said, wow, all of this from the leaves of the olive trees like all in one.
That's amazing.
Let me hurry up and make some and see what it does. And so I made it. I made a very strong batch and I gave it to myself first. This is what everyone should do. Anyone who makes anything that you want to give to other people, you should use yourself as the guinea pig first. That's what a true scientist would do. Um, so I took it, and within a week, it got rid of my eczema. My eczema I had for over 20 years behind my ears just went away. And then about 2 weeks later, I noticed that my asthma was gone. I've had
Mm.
asthma all my life.
Completely.
Yeah, athletic asthma. So if I exert myself, especially if I've been running a long time,
Mm-hmm.
then it would like my chest would feel like it was about to blow up, you know. But then I would take the olive leaf and that would not happen. I could run without any problems. So then I gave it to friends of mine with high blood pressure,
Mm-hmm.
reversed their high blood pressure. Friends of mine who had diabetes reversed their blood sugar numbers from like 300 to like 98 within 24 hours.
Wow,
Blood
that
pressure was
quick?
reversed. Yeah, blood pressure was reversed from like as high as 200 over 120, reversed to like 130 over 75 within 24 hours.
Wow.
And so I started making it out of my house and selling it at a farmer's market in the Virgin Islands every week, and it would sell out until I got a phone call um, around 2016. I got a phone call from a man named Dr. Charles Harrigan, and he asked if I was the guy who made the olive leaf extract, and I said, yeah. And he just said, I want to thank you for saving my life.
Wow. A
And I said,
doctor.
well, yeah, his name is Dr. Charles Harrigan. And I said, what's up? like, what happened? He said, well, I had prostate cancer. And I did everything the doctor said, and it was getting worse. I was urinating blood and I was bedridden. And a friend of mine told me to take your product because it helped him with his cancer. So I took it, and now I'm cancer free. Just whatever you need, let me know. I said, I need your video testimonial.
I know that's right. Yeah.
And he said, no problem. And so we met. He's the very first video that I have of a cancer reversal. It's on my website to this day. And Dr.
Yeah.
Harrigan's doing great. I mean, it's 10 years later. He's alive and well. He's fine. He's doing great. Cancer never came back. All of that, because we dealt with the root cause of the problem. And that's what we tend to do. And so when you go on the website, yeah, you'll see that's the website there. You see the testimonials. Yeah, the guy on the left there, that's a stage 3 prostate cancer reversal. The guy on the right there, that's a stage 4 esophageal cancer reversal. He was given 90 days to live. Yeah, he was given 90 days to live. The woman on the bottom, on that left there, that's stage 3 endometrial cancer reversal. The one on the right, that's breast cancer reversal. So that's Dr. Charles Harrigan right there in the red. Okay. PSA went from 5.9 to 0.45 in about 2 months.
Wow. Now,
and there's more. Yeah. You know, you'll see all, all different types of cancer.
A lot
reversals.
Of people, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're all video interviews. Like
some of them are doctors.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Lung cancer, prostate cancer. High blood pressure. Now, I'm going to stop sharing this for a minute, Brother Heru. How do you, the Queen asked, how do you administer it? So when you were giving this to people, was it through a tea? Was it like a pill?
No.
They had to chew on the leaf,
No. So I make the algae leaf extract. And on my website, I have the bottles that I make. So that's on the shop page. And you just take a tablespoon 3 times a day.
Oh, so it's like an oil.
It's a tincture.
Tincture. Is that what you put under the tongue?
It's liquid. No, you could just, you could put it under the tongue and just, you have to swallow it. You put it in a spoon and just swallow it. It's a liquid tincture. And people take that, you take, a tablespoon 3 times a day. And we've been getting reversals with all types of problems, like all those cancer reversals you'll see. Under that, you'll see high blood pressure, diabetes. I'm talking about people with real bad situations where their foot's about to get amputated, those type of things. The stories are there, man. I mean, like
I've been checking it out, man. It's like, wow. Now let me ask you. So you're saying, because the common knowledge is you got to exercise, you got to change your diet, and I guess get some medicinally. You have to handle that. So you're saying these people had those results, and we're not even talking about the exercise and diet change yet.
No, I mean, so I always suggest a dietary change, and I'm not being very, and I'm very specific about the dietary, because people say lifestyle and this, but they don't get specific. I get very specific. You're going to cut out sugar, and you're going to cut out vegetable oils. You're going to cut out refined carbohydrates. You're going to replace your vegetable oils with coconut oil. You're going to cut out sugar. You're going to cut out your breads. You're going to cut out your rice. You're going to cut out pasta. You cutting out all those things that convert very quickly into sugar. Those are the foods that have what you call a high glycemic index, because sugar is the main culprit for inflammation, which is the main cause of diseases. And so, we'll cover it a lot more on the subsequent shows, man. But we've had people in all types of bad situations, man. Like when you watch these videos, the stories you hear, you're not going to believe them. Like we've had people go pick out their grave sites.
Wow.
Because, like go pick out their grave site, and at the funeral home, they met someone who knew me and said, your life's not over yet. You should give this brother a call. And the woman says, well, I mean, I'm here to pick out my gravesite. I've been given very short to live, a stage 4 cancer. They said, this doesn't get cured. This doesn't, and the worker at the funeral home says, give the brother a call. And that's one of the women giving a testimonial.
Wow.
You
So this
know,
stuff, your stuff must be potent enough where people given 3 months to live can take it and reverse it. That has to be some powerful stuff right there, my brother.
yeah, I make, I'm very confident I make the best olive leaf extract in the world because of my
Mm,
extraction techniques, and I don't dilute it. I don't stretch it out so I can sell more. I don't care about that. I care about the results.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, you know, I make the strongest, most potent olive leaf extract, and that's evidenced by the results that we get. You don't go on any other websites. And it's not like I'm not bragging about this, I'm just stating a fact. You don't go on other websites where they make supplements, like these supplements that you find in uh, Whole Foods. When you go to
Right.
the supplement section, you won't go to their website and you won't have people giving 1 hour testimonials telling their story about how they took the product and they're no longer sick. I'm talking about the major killers of people, the diabetes, the high blood pressure, the cancer, the respiratory illnesses, the autoimmune illnesses, the kidney failure, all that. You know, we have the evidence there, and the people, you know, the thing is that you can cross-reference all the people on my website because most of them have Facebook pages, so you can check up on them and see if they're real people, like just average everyday people, man. And
Mm,
so
it's amazing.
this is the work we do, man. And to some, it's controversial, but I've been doing it so long that it's like I'm not shocked by any of the testimonials I get.
Because you know, this is straight, this is right and exact. This is a science, it's precise, there's no
Yeah,
mystery, correct?
yeah. Because
Mm-hmm.
we don't just have the testimonials; we have the scientific studies to back it up. You know,
Now, Brother Heru, I gotta
yeah,
ask you. I remember coming like in the 80s. I was an activist. Our stories are parallel to some degree. It's funny. I'm listening to you. The student activist, and I was reading up on Sebi and how the government came at him, and he was saying he
yeah,
could cure these diseases, and they came at, you're not a doctor, and they pretty much forced him, I think, to go to Honduras, his native country, and
mm-hmm.
that's where he practiced. Did you encounter, because what you're doing, the big pharma would
Yeah,
naturally not be happy about?
yeah.
Did you encounter any of this type of political resistance from the powers that be?
No, because I remember that I'm a lawyer, and
Mm,
so I use their studies against them.
mm,
See, everything that I'm saying, I have at least 10 studies from the United States government medical library website of National Institute of Health to prove everything that I'm saying.
got you.
So if they're mad at me, they have to be mad at their government website and the studies from all of these different scholars from around the world saying exactly what I'm saying. See, so none of this is like independent opinions. All of this is, okay, here's the studies, and the studies aren't even enough for me. See, studies is one thing, that's one layer of evidence, but the evidence, the real evidence is the people.
Mm-hmm.
The people who are no longer sick and no longer have to take lisinopril for high blood pressure, no longer have to take metformin for diabetes, no longer have to take chemotherapy because their cancer is actually no evidence of disease. Those are the real people. That's the real evidence. So, I'll give you the studies, but I'll give you the people too.
Yeah, I saw that on the website. You have links to certain. The last time we spoke on the other channel, you had links to certain things to go check out. The studies or what they said this particular thing does in the body. So yeah, you definitely give the science.
Yeah, I give chapter and verse. So what I'm most interested in is like, you know, I have people emailing me, calling me from all over the world all the time. And I think they have the impression that I should be their chat GPT for health. So it's like, they may have like, I mean, seriously, I'll get phone calls, man. Like, it's an emergency, Heru, please call me back. I call them back and they tell me the emergency was they were running and they stumped their toe. What should they do for the pain? So I'll get calls like that, or someone will, oh, I'm losing my hair. What should I do for my hair? So for smallest things, I got toothache. What should I do? to all the way like, I've got stage 4 cancer. Can you help me? You know what I mean? I've got deadly blood pressure numbers. Can you help me? My diabetes, my blood sugar's at 600. Can you help me?
Oof.
You know what I mean? So I get a whole gamut in terms of like phone calls, but my goal is to make myself obsolete, is to make myself not needed.
Yeah.
Because I will just, I like to show people how I do what I do in terms of the research that I do, that you'll be able to just do it for yourself. And that all starts with like a place like drugs.com, where you could just put the name of your medicine and put in the word side effects, and you'll see the side effects from all the medications you're taking. And when you read it, it'll make you want to stop those medications as soon as possible and look for an alternative that does not give you those side effects. It turns out that those alternatives do exist, and they're not even alternatives. They should be the things that are considered first, because they don't have side effects. Because if the whole Hippocratic oath is do no harm, then the priority should be given to those remedies which have the least amount of side effects. But right now, it's quite the opposite. The priority is given to medicines with the most side effects. And those will be the medicines that are the manufactured inorganic medications made from the pharmaceutical industry, the laboratory made medicines, and they have to make it in a laboratory or else they can't get a patent. Your patent allows you to be the only one who can manufacture that drug with the monopoly for 20 years. So that's
Brother
why,
Heru,
yeah.
the Queen just posted. This is my wife, my lovely wife. She's going through a lot, Brother Heru, man. It pains me to even think about it. A year ago, they was talking about. Do you want me to talk about that? A year ago, they were talking about she would need a double lung transplant. We had to meet with the transplant team through Zoom. It was very scary. And then it went away, but she still has issues. So she said she just purchased a bottle, and she's thank you for your efforts in true healthcare. Naturally, like the other people you mentioned, she has a range of questions and stuff. I think I hit you up, and you gave us some very good things to look at and to do, and we appreciate that. So I want to ask also, so the olive leaf extract appears to be to deal with a range of many of the issues that affect our people in particular, right? So I just want to be clear. So it deals with blood pressure, heart disease, kidney issues, and diabetes, and maybe lungs. Is that correct? That one
Okay,
thing?
yeah, so according to the Centers for Disease Control, right, the top killers of people in the United States is number one, heart disease. It's high blood pressure, stroke, all that falls under it, right? And then number two is cancer. Number three used to be respiratory illnesses. This is before COVID. But number three has been supplanted by another thing that is now number three killer of people. It's called iatrogenics. So I don't know if you know what iatrogenics is. Are you familiar with iatrogenics?
Is that the medical, the
Yeah,
doctors?
yeah, that's death by doctor. That's death by
Death by
medical
doctor.
error. Yeah. So death by medical error is the third leading cause of death according to Johns Hopkins University since 2015. And then number four would be respiratory illnesses. Then after that would be your autoimmune diseases, kidney failure, diabetes, those things. So what olive leaf extract does, and all of those diseases that I just named are inflammatory based diseases. Cancer is an inflammatory based disease. High blood pressure is an inflammatory based disease, which is basically inflammation of your arterial walls. Diabetes is an inflammatory based disease based on insulin resistance and inflammation. A lot of lung diseases are inflammatory based diseases. So you would have pneumonia, which would be based on an infection. Infections causes inflammation. So inflammation has three sources: injury, infection, and food. Most inflammation that most people have is coming from food. namely sugar and vegetable oils. So these pulmonary diseases come in these forms where they're sparked by inflammation, where you would have an infection. So you can have bacterial pneumonia, viral pneumonia, you can have COPD, you can have cystic fibrosis or fibrosis of the lungs, or you could have, sometimes people will get like cysts in their lungs. It won't be cancer tumors, but they'll be like these deposits in the lung that'll be cysts, and they call them benign
like
cysts. And
blebs, they call them.
yeah, you get all of these different types of things, but all of it is based on inflammation. And it turns out that the number one of the main causes of inflammation in the lungs is vitamin D deficiency. And a lot of people aren't even told that, because vitamin D actually is the main vitamin and hormone that controls inflammation in the lungs. If you don't have enough vitamin D, you will have a runaway inflammatory response in the lungs. And that's why a lot of people from COVID, 99% of the people who died from COVID were vitamin D deficient.
Wow.
And if they would have just had a vitamin D level of 50 or higher, I have a study on my website that says that COVID deaths theoretically would have been 0. Of just having a blood level of 50 or higher. And so these are things that can easily be solved, man, if people just realize that the foundation of sicknesses are just two things. Unless you were born with a congenital problem, or you got into some type of accident, like a car accident, you hit your head, or you got your arm severed off in a car accident or something like that. I mean, the rest of these diseases are really based on two things, man. They're based on lack of the proper nutrients and toxic inputs. And so if you can just eliminate toxic inputs from your life, identify what they are. Usually the toxic inputs, 90% of toxic inputs that people have that's causing them sick is their food. Sugar and these vegetable oils, which is causing inflammation. You cut that out by adopting what is known as a ketogenic diet. A lot of these problems just go away, man, because you stop the toxic inputs. But then we start to find out too that a lot of these diseases are due to people having a low nutritional profile. So, for instance, magnesium deficiency can cause high blood pressure and diabetes. Just being deficient in magnesium causes your arteries not to be able to relax, because magnesium is a relaxant. And you need magnesium to cause your arteries to relax, because your arteries actually contract and relax. That's how blood moves, by the way. It's not from the heart just pumping blood out. It's actually the arteries, they constrict almost like a snake. And that's how blood moves through your body. And for it to relax, it needs sufficient magnesium. So a lot of people who aren't getting enough magnesium or magnesium deficient, their arteries are not relaxing, so it's always in a constricted state, so they have high blood pressure. Same thing now with people with diabetes. They have insulin resistance. Their insulin's not working well. It's not doing the transportation job that it's supposed to do as a U-Haul truck. That's what insulin does. It moves sugar from the blood into the cell for energy, like a U-Haul truck. But when it starts to get run down, you develop insulin resistance, and it just can't carry the same amount of sugar that it used to. So it just leaves over the sugar in your blood. So when they test your blood, you've got high blood sugar, because your U-Haul truck left over the sugar, because it wouldn't carry all of it like it used to when you were younger, a brand new truck. So it turns out that magnesium deficiency causes the body to be less sensitive to insulin and more resistant to it. And then when you supplement with magnesium, all of a sudden now you become insulin sensitive, and your arteries aren't constricted anymore, and your diabetes and your blood pressure just all of a sudden levels out. See, so people don't know these things. And this is because we're part of a trash educational system that does not teach us how to thrive in the fields of health or wealth. So people don't even know, like, the role of magnesium in their health. And you used to just get it from the food, but because of factory farming and the way they treat the soil, there's no more magnesium in the soil. The topsoil in the United States is pretty much depleted. That's why when people leave the United States and go to Africa or the Caribbean, just for a week or two, they start to feel better because the food that they're eating is actually coming from nutrient-rich soil that has the magnesium and the different mineral, the iron and all the minerals that you would normally have from eating vegetables and fruits. But because America deals with factory farming, doesn't pay attention to these small details, they just want to sell you something. You're not getting the nutritional inputs that you need. And so you reach a certain age and they call it old age. It's not old age. Your body's run down from not getting enough nutrition. You're eating a lot, but the food that you're having has no nutritional value. So now you're deficient in vitamin D, you're deficient in magnesium, deficient in selenium, deficient in zinc. And your body needs all of this. And then they got you taking statin drugs. Now you're deficient in cholesterol, which your body needs for hormones. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So this is just a modality of thought, man, that I would like to just make commonplace, because once people can start thinking like this, they'll be able to solve their own problems. They've got a problem, they'll be able to say, it's most likely due to inflammation. Well, inflammation only comes from three sources. Either I got an infection, I got an injury, or it's from the food that I'm eating. If I don't have an infection, I didn't get an injury, it's from the food that I'm eating. What am I eating that's going to cause inflammation? How much sugar am I eating? How much pastries am I eating? Did I stop eating that donut that I love to eat every morning? Those types of things. And once you start making these changes, man, and you take anti-inflammatory herbs, see, a lot of these problems go away in less than 30 days, man.
That's crazy.
30 days.
That's crazy. Now, I assume there's a point of no return with certain illnesses. But from what you're saying, there's people that thought they were going to die in 90 days.
Yeah. No, they were told they were going to die.
Reversed it.
They were told they were going to die in 90 days.
Wow.
We have a woman just recently, I think a month and a half ago. Her name is Renee Denard. She's out of Tampa, Florida. She had stage 4 liver cancer. They gave her 6 months to live. In February of this year, they said that she wouldn't make it past August. And she refused to take the chemotherapy and radiation. She took the olive leaf extract instead. That's the only thing she took. And by August, she went back to the doctors, and they're shocked because they told her she needed a liver transplant because her liver was riddled with tumors, and it had spread, it metastasized to different parts of her body. And they said she wasn't going to make it, but they were going to try to see if they can. But she's 76, so she would have been like last in line for a liver transplant. And she refused to do chemo, radiation, and surgery. And she took the olive leaf, and lo and behold, in August, her death month, they did a scan and they couldn't find anything. And they said that she's good.
Wow.
And you all should people should take some time and watch that. Just Renee Denard, she's 76. She's a firecracker. She's funny. Like, people should just play that video.
I think I saw her. She kind of fair-skinned sister.
She has locks. She's
kind of bubbly.
She's very spicy. No, that's a different sister.
Okay.
That's the difference. I think you're talking about Paula. That was high blood pressure with Paula.
Okay, yeah.
But no, Renee Denard is recent. About a month and a half ago, we got that reversal. People should just play it and watch it. It's free to watch, but you'll learn a lot, and you may be able to learn how to save your own life or somebody in your family's life, because all the information is in the interview. We go step by step what she went through. And she basically was like on her deathbed, man. And she just in October just got finished running a 5K marathon.
Wow.
Yeah, she's on the site. When you were showing the site, she was towards the bottom. Renee Denard, that's her last name.
Okay. That was funny. That used to be my middle government name, Denard.
Denard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask you. Okay, so I have a series of health issues. I take olive leaf extract. I'm curious to know if all or when all those things get reversed, do I continue taking it, or is it like?
So you have to look at You have to look at these things as just like a way of life, man. It's just almost like when I'm not thirsty anymore, should I drink water?
Got you.
Like people need to stop looking at medicine as like a one-off type of thing and just understand that like your food should be your medicine. And so you have to look at everything that you take because all it is just it's the leaves from a tree. So if you eat vegetables, you eat understand that this is just a part of your dietary intake. That's why like um in the herb industry it's called natural supplements. It's just a supplement.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a supplement. Don't look at it as a medicine. Just look at it as a supplement. Just like how you like to drink a little cup of juice, or you like to, you know what I mean. Just like it's,
Mm-hmm.
you don't look at the juice as a medicine, but it actually is because there's a lot of nutrients in it. So I think that people need to start looking at like what is the benefit. Okay, let's say it tastes good. That's one aspect of food, but what is the benefit of eating this thing? Like, what does it do for my like? If people calibrated their mind that way, every time you open your mouth to eat, you would ask yourself the question: what is the benefit of this particular thing that I'm eating?
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't think of the benefit, you probably shouldn't eat it.
Makes sense, man. It does.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, people are actually very undemocratic with their body. What I mean by that is that your tongue is just one organ. But people allow the dictatorship of the tongue to ruin their
Mm-hmm.
whole body politic in the
Mm-hmm.
sense of like you've got a heart, you've got lungs, you've got, intestines, you've got a brain. You're letting the dictatorship of the tongue rule over the rest of the body. And the
So
rest of the
it's
body doesn't appreciate
mm-hmm.
favoring your tongue more than you favor your heart or your lungs or your brain or your prostate. You get what I'm saying?
I do.
We have to really recalibrate our minds and start being more democratic with our organs. Like all of our organs should have a vote on what we eat.
Yeah,
But it's a dictatorship
I
of the
dig that.
tongue.
Mm-hmm.
It's a dictatorship of the tongue that's happening right now. We want to overthrow that ruling party.
So it's kind of like we need information and discipline.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we have discipline for the things we want. Like if you want to watch, a Netflix series or whatever, like you make sure you put it on and sit down and put in your time and you watch it, right? Because that's what
Right.
you want. Like we're disciplined for the things that we want. And you start to figure out what people really want based on what they're disciplined towards. Like you'll see a kid who's never on time for anything, but like when it's time to go to like maybe, I don't know, a movie he wants to go to or a party he wants to go to, he's dressed before everybody.
Right.
He's ready to go,
Right.
right? So he's disciplined for what he wants,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's just that like being healthy's got to excite people.
Mm-hmm.
Being medication free's got to start exciting people. Like once that excites you, you'll have the discipline to do what's necessary. You see what I'm saying?
I do. So this is about a paradigm shift of changing values as well.
Yeah, it's definitely
Mm-hmm.
changing values that aren't psychotic. What I mean by that is that you say that you love yourself and your body and you love your life, but you're not engaged in any activities that would reflect that.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you know that heart disease is the number one killer of people and that's the most likely thing to die of, why wouldn't we learn everything necessary to make sure you don't get heart disease? But just, you see, the thing is that we don't have a really good social contract. In other words, your taxes pay for an education that does not liberate you in any way possible.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a social contract that It's really kind of an adhesion contract in the sense of like, so in law, there's a thing called adhesion contracts. Um, the adhesion contract is a contract that is completely unbalanced and unfair towards one party. And so the adhesion contract is based on the fact that you pay taxes for very little in return. Like the average person, like if you live in New York or California, you're taxed about 70 to 80% of your income. People don't even realize that. Okay, so you got a federal income tax, you got a state income tax, you've got a sales tax, you've got a property tax, you've got a vehicle tax, you've got insurance, which is a form of taxation, health insurance, which is another form of taxation. Yeah,
New York City.
So yeah, you got a city tax. So I mean, if you really think about it, every dollar you make, 80% is pretty much going to the government. Okay, so now the question is, what are you getting in return? Well, what you're getting in return is you're getting a trash educational system that doesn't teach you how to thrive, doesn't teach you how to heal yourself, doesn't teach you how to be like independently wealthy, doesn't teach you about the stock market. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So it's like we're on our own and we have to coochie chagalia it. And this is why you have, the show that you got. It's because you understand that we got to get this information out for ourselves by ourselves, because who else is going to do it? And it's quite a perilous position to be in if you have to turn over your health to your historical adversaries.
For sure. So I'm wondering, so the queen just got a bottle. I don't know what size she got. She's not with me right now in the room, in the office. But are there like extra strength, or is there like a standard one? In other words, if I want to take some for whatever's going on with me, would I have to get my own bottle?
No, I mean, you can share it with your wife if you want. I mean, it's up to you. We have two versions. We have the super strength and the maximum strength. The maximum strength is stronger. We recommend that for people with serious illnesses that put them in the hospital. And then we have the super strength, which is stronger than any other thing in the market, but is not as strong as the maximum strength. So people who got high blood pressure, but it's not something to put them in the hospital, they can take the super strength. If you've got diabetes, but it hasn't put you in the hospital, you could take the super strength. The maximum strength is for like people with cancer, people who got some type of serious illness, and then they would take that. And I recommend that for them, and the instructions are on our website for each of the products.
Got you. Now, I also noticed you have something that talks about parasites.
Yeah. So we have different anti-parasitics. The olive leaf is an anti-parasitic, but there's also the opportunity for people to get a mix of different anti-parasitics, because what we like to do, particularly with people with cancer, is to give them more than one anti-parasitic. Even though the olive leaf itself has reversed people's cancer, because cancer is so serious, I like to make sure people take at least 3 or 4 different anti-parasitics. That's part of our anti-cancer protocol.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Wow. Yeah, I would say at this point, Brother Heru, we're coming to a close. I don't know about you. I'm excited about our collaboration, man. I'm just providing the platform, but to hear what you're saying is absolutely I think the average person who watches this interview is going to think this can't be true, just because of our ignorance of this area of health and what we've been told by doctors. They tell you you're going to take this pill, this high blood pressure pill for the rest of your life, or they'll tell you, oh, if you stop this pill here, you better tell us first, because if you stop taking it immediately, it will cause issues. So a lot of people are walking scared. They don't know who to trust. They're taking these pills. The pills are causing more ailments. I went to a doctor, Brother Heru. I told you I did a 3-day water fast. I started radically cutting down the cakes and the pies and all that. Now, don't get me wrong. Every now and then I have my chips, potato chips. I have a little something here and there, but I cut that down drastically. I do my exercise. I go to this doctor. I say, listen, man, I want labs done. I knew exactly what labs I wanted done because I researched it. He says, well, I don't really think you need that and need this, right? So he gives me the labs. He says, oh, I want to give you, after I told him all of that, he says, I'm going to give you another medicine, a medication. I'm like, did he hear anything I just said? Like, things are improving for me. I get the labs back, sugar down. I think it's called triglycerides, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
down. All this stuff down just from that little bit I've been doing, you know. And it's like he wasn't trying to hear. He's trying to give me another medication. He's not
Yeah.
listening. It's
No.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Then I had a doctor looked at a wound I had. He wanted to do a surgery. I said, no, I don't want a surgery. I'm fasting. I'm exercising. I'm walking. I'm cut out sugar. I believe I'm going to heal. I come back, legs not swollen, wound is really small, and it's almost, Brother Heru, like he was upset. It was like begrudgingly he had to say, "Wow, your leg, yeah, yeah."
Well,
It was,
part of it is that remember that with the medical establishment, what they've done is that they've sought to create a priest class.
right.
And what happens when you create a priest class is that a priest class means that this is a sacred body of people who cannot be questioned. And the fact that you cannot question them, or if you are questioning them, is seen as a form of blasphemy. And you can be excommunicated from society in many different ways. You can be called an anti-vaxxer, or this or that, blah, 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 blah. Because what they've done is they've created a religion around medicine and health. So whenever you seek to challenge the priest class, you're always met with the wrath. This has happened historically. The problem with the priest class is because they cannot be questioned, it is the perfect breeding ground and environment for corruption because there are no checks and balances and there are no levels of accountability. And so when your doctor, who also has invested a lot of time and money in being an expert and has made that part of their identity, what you have done is you have one violated the sacrosanct nature of the priest class. You've also proven to him that the emperor may be wearing no clothes.
No clothes. Mm-hmm.
And that would cause a lot of cognitive dissonance for somebody, you know, who's been challenged about their religious positions.
That's right. That's right. I'm getting ready to post your website. Um, and I really encourage people. We have a low live turnout tonight. I suspect that's going to change. Um, but for those who watch the recorded version and the few who are here watching live, I really strongly encourage them to go and visit Brother Heru's business, his website, herbalresults.net. Actually, the name of Brother Heru's actual monthly show here is called Herbal Results. I want to tie this. I don't want people just to listen and say, "Oh, wow, that's interesting." I want them after they watch this or while they're watching, listening to you. I want them going right to your site so they can, because that says it all. You got the articles, they can get informed. You got the medication so they know what to take, and then you got people bearing witness that this is actually effective. So it's a very effective situation you created there, good brother. Definitely. Go to this website, family. Herbalresults.net. It answers a lot of questions that you have. And Brother Heru is also, he has I believe you have your email address or a company email address. He's very good about it. He'll get back to you. Now he got a lot of people coming at him. So it may not be tomorrow, but he's gonna get back to you and do your best to give you advice and stuff like that. So Brother Heru, is there anything that you didn't get to say that you want to make sure you say as we begin to close?
No, I think that you did a real good job, man. I thank you for having me on your show. and hopefully we can make a difference in the thought process around health, and that people will be able to be empowered to understand what's going on with their bodies and to be able to make informed decisions about the routes that they should choose to get full health reversals. And so, I just tell people I'm an illness reversal engineer, and that's
Mm-hmm.
that's what I do. I just engineer illness reversals, and I show people how I did it so that I can download my brain into everybody so that I can replicate my results, in an expeditious manner. And
Mm-hmm.
so, that's what we're doing, man. And just salute to you for having the foresight to have this type of a platform to get information out to our people, because that's what we need.
Yeah. And it's working, Brother Heru. The Queen writes here on the comment that she's going to introduce your website and the products. She just bought a product. I'm going to probably buy some products. And that she's going to introduce this video and the website to our family members. So that, because we all have family members that got sugar. That's what we used to call it back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Diabetes, high blood pressure. We got people on dialysis. We got all of that right in our families, in our neighborhoods. So we're going to be definitely sharing this very aggressively, and hope that people come to these broadcasts. Those who don't know, we're going to be every month, the last Tuesday of each month, 7 p.m. Eastern. We're going to address one specific, I guess you could say, ailment or illness. Brother Heru is really good at helping you understand what causes it really, what it really is, and how to address it. And he can even point you to his website, his business, to show you the things that he has in place to help us address it. So this is not going to be we here running our mouths, family. This is going to be help you understand what this is, and then equipping you with the tools to address the issues you have. So this is, I think, is very important what you, in this case, slash we are doing, but really you. I'm just giving a platform. This is really your work, and so we salute that. So Queen says she has family that have 3 that have cancer right now. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm curious, before we go, there's one quick question, Brother Wu. So infections, very serious infections, say like a Mercer.
Mm-hmm.
I assume that's an infection. Is that an infection?
Yeah,
Does the olive leaf address things like that?
absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah, all,
And
all types of pathogens.
okay, and the last question is, I'm just curious. I think I know the answer, but I just want to see, where do we find the greatest um number of olive trees? What part of the world?
Well, here's the deal, right? So there's different types of olive trees, man.
Mm-hmm.
You've got um you've got different what they call genuses of olive trees. So for instance, you would have um an olive tree that is called Olea europea. That's the European olive tree.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Olea Europe. That's the one that is most abundant in the world that you would see. But then you also have Olea africanus.
Ah, all right
That
now.
olive tree you'll find in different parts of Africa is very good for high blood pressure.
Mm.
So the Olea europea works well for high blood pressure too, but Olea africanus tends to work a little bit better. So it depends on which part of the world that you are and what type of olive tree that you're talking about. But
Mm.
traditionally, so I get my olive leaves from Egypt, right?
Mm.
So, I get them from the continent. Um, and it's around the Nubian area where I get it from. And they tend to have a very good,
Kush,
yeah, they have a very good
formerly. Mm-hmm.
uh, cultivation of the olive trees there. But traditionally, you would say it's probably the Mediterranean has, or that Mediterranean basin. So that'd be like Italy, Greece. And then if you go further south into the continent, you'd say Egypt, Tunisia, Libya, those types of places. You would see a lot of olive trees.
Like Northern Africa.
Yeah.
Mm. Okay. Well, thank you, man, brother Heru. Thank you, man, for the work you do, and for agreeing, because I know you're busy. Anybody who's about it for real is busy. If you find a person that's not busy, you gotta
Mhm.
you gotta question why. And they say they into liberation educational work. So I know you're busy doing a
Yeah.
lot. So I'm really grateful that you agreed to this collaboration. I think it's gonna prove to be fruitful, as I think it will inform a lot of our people, who are gonna watch this, and they're gonna be on the phone with a relative. Oh, you gotta go here, check this out, listen to the testimonials. Because people who are really sick would tend to be demoralized, some of them. So they I don't believe that. But when they see those testimonials,
Yeah, and I also I couple it with studies. So, for instance, when you ask me about MRSA, you can literally just go on Google and put in olive leaf extract and MRSA. And
ah,
you'll see many studies on MRSA and olive leaf extract. I'm looking at
wow.
one right now, the antimicrobial properties of olive leaf extract. And it talks about MRSA. And it says that what it did is it showed appreciable activity against MRSA and H. pylori, you know? And
Mm.
so, you just want to just look at Google and you can literally find out the answer to most of these things. Like it's there, so I think
And I'm
people,
assuming there's no.
yeah,
The other thing is that with the things that you're producing, there's no side effects as it would be with the traditional medications.
yeah, no, I mean, the side effect could be you know, you might get some diarrhea because you're cleaning out your colon. You might get what's called a Herxheimer response, which is a Herxheimer reaction, which is when you have a lot of parasitic die-off. The parasites like to release toxins in the blood while they're being killed because olive leaf kills them very harshly. And so, as a last ditch effort to stay alive, they release toxins. Those toxins can cause you to get flu like symptoms or rashes on your skin. It lasts for 2 or 3 days at the most. It's called a Herxheimer reaction.
I've heard that, Herxheimer.
Yeah,
Interesting, man. This is good stuff, man.
yeah,
Appreciate
man.
you, brother Heru. Man, can't wait to, for our next broadcast when we're gonna start family watching, getting to the real specifics of particular issues that we have with our health. And so I'm very excited about that. I think we said we're gonna do it. Was it cancer, brother
Yeah,
Heru?
yeah, we can do cancer next month.
Yeah.
No problem.
So for December, check us out, family. This will be around, probably should be around Kwanzaa time, if I'm correct, when we do that. So it'll be very timely. But brother
Mhm.
Baba Heru, thank you.
No
Keep up the
problem.
good work, brother. Appreciate you, man, what you're
No
doing.
problem. No problem at all. And just a little bit, just the last thing about MRSA. So if I had
Mm.
MRSA, I would take olive leaf extract and I would take essential oil of oregano.
Essential oil of oregano and olive
Yep,
leaf extract.
that's what I would take.
Wow.
Yep,
Look at that.
that's it.
Look at that.
All right.
Converser. Yes, sir.
All right, man.
All right, my brother.
All right.
Peace, man. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir. Yep.
Right. Family, peace, black power, peace, and blessings. Don't forget to support our good brother, Baba Afam out in Brooklyn. He's trying to raise money. He has $3,000 he has to raise to get his dual citizenship in Sierra Leone, because he found out through Ancestry.com that he has lineage that traces back to Sierra Leone. And he can go there, go through a ceremony, right? And he'll get his dual citizenship. He'll get a ECOWAS passport that will now give him entry into 15 other African countries. And he's trying to not only get dual citizenship, but he's trying to spread the teachings of the great honorable Dr. Amos Wilson. If you don't know about Amos Wilson, that's a brother you need to look up. But if you go to our other channel, Heart Liberation School, type in Amos Wilson in the search, you'll find out all about our brother. All right, family, that said, I think this was a good meal. I don't know about y'all, but this was a good meal. And we didn't even get into the actual specifics yet. That's going to start next month. Last Tuesday of every month, 7 p.m. Eastern, family. Wukusu Empowerment Channel. We're trying to help people be better and do better, right? To live our lives in a more free, healthy, and empowered way. That's it, family. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe, spread the word. This is only for people who are about empowerment. So if you know people that are saying, I want to get my life together, I want to be on time, I want to get over my fears, I want to get things done, I want to be more focused, I want to deal with my health, right? I've been through domestic violence. I want to be able to transition and get to a better place with that. This is the channel they need to come check out, family. Thank you for watching. Peace and blessings. Until next time.